What's happening, everybody? Welcome to the Coffee and Tea Podcast. I am so excited that you have decided to join us on this again, another Friday night. I am super excited about today because I have some really. This is just going to be a great conversation. So wherever you are, whatever platform you are on, make sure that you call somebody, you share it with somebody, you let them know that we are live in effect on the Coffee and Tea Podcast. And tonight we're going to be talking about, for some people, this is a pretty taboo subject, and for some of us it's like whatever, it is what it is. We're going to be talking about the second time around, and in particular we're going to be talking about a second marriage. So I have some friends who are currently living that life right now, and they actually are the biggest goofballs I probably know right now. But it is well worth the conversation, because just seeing the two of them together, it really is kind of like an amazing thing. So I want to be able to encourage some folks to know that it's not just once. You can find love again. So I'm just gonna bring them in, and they'll be able to introduce themselves, and then we'll get into the conversation. So I'm gonna bring my friends in. It is the Heidelbergs. So
I maybe want some bling with the name on it.
And Dr. Chris here with us this evening. So I'm gonna go ahead and give you guys a chance to introduce yourselves, and then we'll get into the how you met story.
Hi, I'm Michelle Claxton Heidelberg. I'm not sure if I'm supposed to say much more than that, so I'll let him introduce himself.
I'm Dr. Chris Heidelberg. My friends like Kristen call me Chris, but when we doing these formal things, I want to be official. After that, we just gonna be Chris. All right.
I told y'all this is already gonna be off the rails. So
I won't give away no secrets yet.
Yeah.
I'm spilling all the tea.
Look, all of it. That's what this is all about. Like, you gotta
coffee and tea.
Gotta have your cups and all that kind of stuff.
Oh man!
Already.
But we forgot the thing. It's the second time around. That's the second time. We couldn't use copyright music, but we can sing a few bars.
You can't. You can sing a couple bars, but you can't sing a whole lot now.
That's right.
But I just wanted to say thank you guys for coming and being a part of the Coffee and Tea Podcast and being a part of the tribe. Thank you guys so much. So let's go ahead and start by saying, tell us how you guys met.
I'm going to go first because Chris will try to take the entire time.
No, I will not.
So we first met at the Baltimore Inner Harbor on May 30th.
We think it's May 30th. We still debating that.
83.
God,
yes, you heard me correctly. That is 41 years ago. We have to have a celebration May 30th. Yeah. 41 years ago. So what happened was
her version.
I was with my girls. It was 4 of us. He was with his boys.
Tell her who the girls were.
No. Yeah. It was 4 of them. And I don't know if they still do this now. So I was 19.
Yeah, it was about 19.
20. I was 20. And we were down there being a bunch of goofballs. People watching. That's what you do. And we came across this group of guys, and they were acting just as silly as we were. So we joined up. And then before we departed, it was 4 of them, 4 of us. Everybody kind of got a phone number from somebody. Mm-hmm. And Chris and I, now there was no social media back then. So we would write letters, call when we could. Anybody had no cell phones? What kind of junk?
It was 1983.
Yeah. So, pay phones, house phones?
I had a house phone.
House phone.
I had my own house phone.
Which I lived in a house with a whole bunch of other people. So I had the phone when I could get the phone. But we wrote letters. In the same time frame, I met another person. And
after me.
I don't know.
BC. No, it was after me.
Okay, we'll go with him. He likes to feel like that. Okay.
That's true.
So Chris was in the Marines at the time. which he's going to say Marines a lot. There's a couple things that Chris is going to say a lot during this time.
First of all, don't be bringing to my
I'm a Marine. Okay, so he got deployed, and and it wasn't very long after.
Yeah, it was like July. It was around July before our birthday.
So, it was everything was still in the early stages with anybody I met. I probably met some other people and just told them no. Chris seems to recall, because some people out there might not know, am I still considered a preacher's kid, even though my dad gave up being the pastor 2 years ago?
Yes.
But anyway, I grew up as a preacher's kid.
Okay.
And I grew up in like holiness, strict kind of holiness. And Chris told me he was the dreaded Catholic. He was one of them Cathos. So I was like, this ain't gonna work. This ain't gonna work. Unequally yoked.
That was our famous term. Unequally yoked. I'm gonna go to hell.
Anyway,
that is a church colloquialism right there.
Yes. So we went on and we were writing letters back and forth. And I wrote him a letter saying, guess what? I'm getting married.
The infamous Dear Chris letter. Yeah.
I don't know. Do they still know what Dear John means?
Yeah, it was a Dear John letter, but I called it a Dear Chris letter.
People out there in social media world. Anyway,
people.
Yeah, I wrote him a letter and said in the military and told him that I was getting married.
And I knew who it was.
And about a year and a half later, I get a letter from him. He's like, hi, how's marriage going? Just want you to know that I'm saved. I'm not, I guess once a Catholic, always a Catholic. But anyway, he got saved for real. And he met somebody and he's getting married now. And Chris will tell you the rest. But in both of our cases, I happen to know the church he was going to because I know everybody in Baltimore in church. But anyway, it was a family church. It still is. A lot of my family members go there.
Your father came from there.
And yes, our church did come from there. And before my father became a pastor, we were members there, and my mom sang on the choir and would put us in the nursery. And once you got to be 5, you didn't have to go to the nursery anymore. So one Sunday, she's put me in the nursery. I'm 5 years old. Why Sharon don't have to go to nursery? And she's 1 year older than me. I'm 5. When she turned 5, she got to get out. I was so mad. I was protesting. So I took my lumps. I said, I'm going to find a toy, sit in the corner, and, I ain't going to deal with these babies. Well, as it turned out, one of them babies came over to me, tried to snatch my toy and with one of them, mine. And I was like, So, them hard baby shoes, them white shoes.
The white shoes?
He kicked me. Oh, no. So I went and told the person in charge of the nursery.
Should have kicked her back because that's
and they said, oh, by the way, to describe her, she's one of them little cute, light-skinned, curly hair. And the nursery said, oh, she's just a baby. Let her have it. What am I supposed to? She can't have it.
Told you
I don't want to be down here anyway. Anyway, that's
she's still like that.
Chris married.
And the person, now I'm gonna give you my version of what happened.
Oh Lord Jesus!
So we meet down there, and then she said, "Illegally yoked." But what she did, hold up. But what she didn't know is, now I'm gonna give you the backstory, Chris, that you didn't know. My grandmother was an evangelist and a whatever. She was and would drag me to church. My parents got married because of me. I showed up, so my mother had to live there. I was forced to go. They made people sign these contracts back in the day. I don't know if they were legal enforced, but it was Baltimore. It was heavily archdiocese. So I had to go to Catholic schools and be raised up. But when I became an adult, I could make my own decision. Which when I got in the Marine Corps, I met a guy named Trent Cole who would say,
wait a minute, before that, were you saved when I met you? No. So we were unequally yoked.
Hold up. I had already met Trent Cole, and I was already
on your way.
No, I wasn't just on my way. Rolando had moved in. I don't know why he wasn't with us that day, but I had started. It was 83, so I was going to First United then. But I hadn't gotten baptized there. But anyway, I had been in the church my whole life, not just. What is it? This is super funny. It is funny.
Serena.
Okay, Okay, hold up. But this is funny because let me tell you something. So she telling me, and she didn't know. Every time she would put out something, I was biblical stuff. I knew it. I knew
You
it.
ain't say nothing.
You did. I did. You would quote scriptures. I was coming back with you. See, that's the part she don't want to tell y'all. See, the old cat though knew
I
some
don't
stuff.
think he was saying anything.
Yes,
else,
I was.
all I
was.
knew
She was
was
talking about, y'all worship Mary. I said, nobody worship no Mary. We talking about Jesus. And you gonna be here talking about ego, which means easing God out and putting you in. Your interpretation in.
What?
Oh, we would be going. It was like oil and vinegar.
Chris making up stuff.
I am not. It was
What's
like,
the next question?
wait a
Chris?
minute, hold up. Chris.
This is as funny. Y'all story is as funny as the Marla and Ryan story. Like
hold up. But
this,
then
this
she was
is
saying,
hilarious.
wait a minute. Here's what she thinks she all like because she cute and chocolate. so we're doing this thing. And at the time, you had to, if you knew me then, my hair was like red and blonde, and I was like 2 shades lighter. I think the Camp Lejeune made me darker. So I had reddish blonde hair. Yes.
Lord Jesus.
And every once in a while, it'll come out my hair. I said, actually, I got a certain age. I dyed my hair black because I couldn't stand the red and everything. And nobody in my family looked like that. Everybody looked like her in my family. I hated it. I was the oddball looking like my mother. Anyway, let me get back to the story. So we do that. We keeping in touch. Well, one of the second or third time we got together. Yep. So she knows. Yep. Thank you. And I went to St. Bernardines. Have you ever been to St. Bernardines? Them folk were saved up there. Half the people left and joined First United where I went, or First Advent. I went to all these churches. In fact, here's a true story. I actually went to, is it Church of the Risen Savior? I actually went to that church. My aunt, Rolando, you met Rhodey, who was my best man.
Oh, yeah.
His mother never stopped
being
being
in Church of the Risen. We were Chapel of the Risen Savior.
Chapel of the Risen Savior. We went there. She took it, even though she got married to be cat, whatever, she was still straight up, and she watched us. So we went where she went. To this day, I don't think my mother gonna see this. Ooh, I'm glad she did. She should be taking us there. She should be taking us to church on a DL. The first time we see people.
Not his mother. He's glad the aunt is there. Chris.
Oh, I was going to say.
Rhodey's mother
give the
is
high
dead.
sign when
She was my mother's best friend. Ironically, we got married on her birthday. Her and Brian, her brother, share a birthday.
Okay.
We got married on Rhodey's mother's birthday. I just thought about that.
Okay.
So anyway, to make a long story short, she was like a godmother. She watched over us and everything else. And they didn't know, but it's always a divide in my family about the people who are Catholics, the people who were not. And in the end, the people who are Pentecostal saved have won the day.
I need to put this very important point in there. So after 1983, the very next time we even saw each other was
2007.
No, 7, 8, somewhere in the
just
in the zero something.
Right before I graduated
and
get my doctorate.
And that was an accidental meeting because my cousin was a member of the church.
Talking about Kiana,
Chris was a member.
I know Kiana
of,
said she was
and it was Friends and Family Day.
She
lived with us. So she said, can you please come to my church? I said, I'm getting in trouble. I'm supposed to sing, blah, blah, blah.
She came.
Okay. So I came, and then I'm seeing all these people in Baltimore church world at the church. So everybody's coming up, Greek Claxton. Oh, yeah. And this young man comes up, Michelle Claxton. You know, he had to say it like that.
Stuff he said.
And so we hugged. I thought it was a nice, the church pet.
The side hug.
In my mind, it was. Kiana told me later on, ooh, Chris got in big trouble for that. I
ain't getting no sleep that night. Man, she was hot.
So let me ask this question. So in your previous marriages, how long were you married?
For me, 28 years.
I did 27 to life sentence. I got pardoned by Jesus Christ.
Hilarious. So in your initial interactions, there were no like, oh, we're gonna date, we're gonna like no sparks, no none of that.
Second time or the first time?
So you said the second time.
She was kind of cute the first time. I'll stipulate to that. I might have been I hadn't got my full Mac move on.
Yeah, because we probably only talked maybe a month. Oh, you said it was July when you got deployed?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it wasn't that long.
It wasn't that long. Yeah, I got deployed. And then to top it off, her ex showed up at one of the meetups. I don't know how he knew in his stalker mode. And the first 5 minutes,
I probably told him.
my friend, I don't know if you told him, but he showed up. So he shows up, and immediately, I've been around smart people my whole life, and I know him, and I know a perpetrator when I see one. Just because you got a book don't mean you're smart.
No shade, no shade, no shade.
It ain't a shade. It's true. It's a fact. It's a fact. And the fact was, my friend who became the chief homicide detective, ironically, he was a cop, and I was an intel specialist, and I did that in the Marine Corps. He caught him in 5 lies. I only caught him in 4. And he said, "Boy, you slipping today." He said, "You too busy looking at Michelle. Your game off." He said, and he's teasing me. "I can't believe you let that deep get your girl, dog."
Hilarious.
So fast forward to 20.
When Alex told him about me,
2020.
he put you behind that Dear John letter. I know he did. You told me.
Random.
2020, January of 2020, I rehired someone who worked for me before.
St. Katrina.
And she knew that I knew Chris Heidelberg. You can't forget the name. And then if you meet him in person, you won't forget the person.
That's true.
So in, just getting reacquainted with her, we were going down a list. How's this person? How's that person? And she said, have you been keeping up with Chris and Crystal? I was like, no. She said, are you his friend on Facebook? I was like, in 1983, that stuff didn't exist. So
right.
It was fired.
She said, well, they went through a divorce. Well, it was a divorce. And but he went on to he got his PhD. He does this business and that business. He's traveling. He's doing this. You should reach out to him. I was like, I'm good now, because in between the divorce and this marriage, I was actually engaged. And then that didn't work because, he and I were we've been friends. We had been friends since we were children. But even though they say marry your friend, if you can't live with your friend and you don't want the same thing in life, then that's not going to work. No matter, we tried, but we didn't want the same things. But anyway, so by this time, by 2020, I'm good. I'm almost 60 at that point. I was 58. And so I finally did, that was in January, probably in February, because the thought, you should reach out to him.
You hit me in January.
I did?
You hit me in January.
Okay, maybe some weeks later. I finally just wrote 3 little words, or 4. Hi, old friend, do you remember me? I got back 20 paragraphs.
I can imagine. It had to be the longest thing ever.
And so we finally decided to meet up.
We have been talking online and on the phone.
Yeah. But we finally decided in March, the week before the pandemic closed.
Yeah.
Now, here's how that went. We met at Bonefish Grill in Owings Mills.
We pulled up the same time.
I asked my friend Francine and her husband Rodney to go sit over in the corner in case this doesn't go well, whatever. Because I was just like,
with me. Come on, ladies and gentlemen.
I mean, I didn't know
you gotta do it because everybody need an exit plan, Chris. Everybody need an exit plan.
And Rodney didn't even show up, so I'm there. And
God bless him. He knew it. The Lord knew you was safe.
And here come Chris getting out the car. Hey, how you doing? Just singing and snapping. And then we go in the restaurant. Hoorah! Another Marine. I'm like,
I don't remember that part.
There was a white guy over at the bar.
Oh yeah, we did say that. We did the super.
Oh, they were hoorahing forever. And but we did have a very interesting conversation, and we knew a lot of the same people. He had done a lot, which was very interesting. And sitting in the restaurant was probably 3 hours.
It was an 8-hour date, y'all.
March
8.
No, it's typically iffy weather. But this particular day
it was
gorgeous. And I said, hey, where I live, there's a lake. Would you like to take a walk?
Who am I to turn down hospitality?
I was like, you want to come back to my place? And then I heard, oh my God, Michelle, that's not supposed to be saying it like that.
Right answer, ladies and gentlemen. Right answer.
In my mind, I was like, because I live in a townhouse and the first floor was just a couch down there. I was like, he's not coming. He's just going to be down there because I just need to go get my sneakers. Sure. And then we can go for the walk.
Sure.
We must have walked around that lake. It's a 1 mile walk around. We probably did 3 laps, and we came back and we just sat down there for the longest time, and conversation went on and on and on. And
we were having fun. We were laughing, joking,
just catching up on 40 years of stuff.
Mhm.
Some of it was emotional though, because he had gone through some very rough things in his marriage, and so had I. So we had
trauma seminar, trauma share.
Yes,
my trauma is bad too.
Even though I kept saying he not coming up to the second level, which is where we're sitting right now.
You're right.
Your mouth gets dry after a while. I was like, would you like a cup of tea? You can come upstairs.
Lord have mercy, Michelle.
I keep working my way back to you with a burning
So
love.
finally, I was like, that's it. Where's Lissy? She's not home yet. Where's the child?
Ain't nobody coming.
And so, we said goodbye at around 11 o'clock. So it was an 8-hour date because we met up right after church around 3.
Now tell them what you told your mother that I didn't know.
I didn't say nothing.
Yes, you did.
But anyway,
she said I was feeling him at the first date.
So anyway, COVID. That Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday, I don't remember what day of the week it was, when the announcement went out, you're not supposed to go out of the house or whatever the case may be. And Chris and I had been seeing each other a couple of times through that week. And so Chris calls me and was like, I'm coming over. I was like, did you not hear the news? We're not supposed to
stay at home.
Out the house. And then he
Dr.
said,
Heidelberg.
now I'm going to be doctor. There's
Okay.
something called a bubble. And that means people who have been around each other can still be around each other. I ain't by bubble. Anybody heard of no
The bubble?
Making up stuff.
I wasn't making it up.
He said,
I was in the Marine Corps and I did
well,
nuclear, chemical, and biowarfare. So we actually were talking about this, ironically, in 1983, and we were scared of a virus like this. But when you're in a bubble, you have to stay with the same people. I lived alone, so there was nobody coming to my crib.
So anyway, he said, and I kept saying, well, I don't think you're supposed to come over. Then he said, well, I don't know what I'm going to do with this catfish, sweet potato, collard greens.
Not you with the food, Lord Jesus.
I was like, okay, the door be unlocked. Just
wear
your mask. Come on.
Chris,
All
I
right.
did not know you was that smooth, sir.
Look, I was real smooth.
Weeks later, we did hear about the bubble, and I was like, maybe.
She hated it. I could not believe. Get on my nerve. I'll be right.
Next question.
Okay, so.
Then we started walking. We would take the daily walks now, because she didn't take them all the time. We took the daily walks. I was wooing her, doing the daily walks. I was doing the fringe. I had a slow walker. But see, what I didn't know, while I'm slow walking her down, she's slow walking me down.
I'm checking them out.
So then,
what was the question I asked you? Because you were used to girls doing what? Oh, and Chris was dating. Oh, God, he was dating babies. His daughter, who is the same age as my third daughter, had to tell him, Dad, you cannot date anybody younger than me. She had to cut, and she's 33 now. Now, back then, what was she, 30? She wasn't even 30 yet. She was 29.
I can't ladies and gentlemen, I cannot recall this time.
But
I was stimulated with a record.
Young girls.
I was stimulated with a record.
Games. And what question did I ask?
But old girls did too. Hold up.
Yeah, old girls.
Okay. Let's be fair here. Obviously, Dr. Chris had been married a long time, so you could say I was a what's the word? I was a serial dater.
Okay.
Multiple people dating multiple people, but here's the interesting thing. But I would tell them. Now, here's the interesting thing about it. If you're honest with a woman and tell them what you're doing, they cool. Plus, I wasn't hitting them all. It wasn't like that. But I was dating many people. I gotta keep it real here. All right?
Okay, you want to keep it real?
I'm keeping it real.
Okay,
I'm keeping it real.
Lord Jesus. Okay.
So what happened is what Michelle did was slick. Michelle was smooth. I'm working her on the edges, right? Meanwhile, she's meeting my friends like Nicole and all them. And Leslie. Leslie looks like a Barbie doll, but she's actually an armed security officer, a federal officer. And what happened is they like Michelle. You know what they did? Do you know what my so-called friends did? Well, I guess they do is right. You know what they did? They called everybody that they knew in my circle.
Your little black book.
I didn't have a black book. I had a
So
digital-
to speak,
Oh, y'all got it.
a virtual.
my virtual book, and they let it be known. He had somebody, we like her. You're fired because you didn't get the job done. He needs to be married, put away. He does not need to be on the door.
And what was the question?
Leslie threatened one with her gun. At least one ex. Well, I was engaged. I think I got engaged twice. And one time, the person had a whole mental breakdown from stuff that had been done to her, childhood trauma. And I literally, thank God I was Dr. Chris, because I saved her life a couple times. And I ended up raising her daughters, who became my daughters.
What was the question, Chris, that she asked you?
The wall.
Oh, here she goes. Here she goes with this question again. Chris, what are you going to do when there's a woman who ain't playing games, ain't trying to date you for your money or all this other stuff? What you going to do? And I had to pause because I think I ain't never been asked that question.
That shut him up, y'all. When I asked him,
you got him to be quiet?
Yes.
Oh yeah, I got real quiet because I had to think about that. I said, "Dang, anybody ever asked me?" And I had at least back then, I need prejudice now, but before then, I was known for this notorious near photographic memory. And when she said it, I was like, "Who said that to me? Ain't nobody said it to me. What happens when nobody ain't playing no games?" I said, "Hey, this is very."
I said the exact question was, "What are you gonna do when you meet a woman who's not playing games?"
What was my answer?
He said, "I think I'll marry her."
I did say that. Hold on, I did say that. And I said, but first I had to do a deep background investigation.
He said, but this warrants
more investigation.
Yeah,
I've heard this before. Because women are smarter than men. Hold on, let me get that on the record. I know men gonna get mad, but I was also a professor for 10 years, and it's been my experience that women develop faster and they're smarter than men because number one, they're forced to use both sides of the brains, and they're also living in a society that is actually hostile towards them. So they have to learn how to do the man game, the woman game, and they do most of the raising of the children, unfortunately, in our society. And if you're talking about Black families, I'm a product of a single mother. My parents got divorced, and so this leads to one of the questions you're going to talk about when Michelle and I were talking about when I got married the first time. I actually believed this stuff. You're gonna stay married forever and ever. And I didn't want to get a divorce. And I mean, I did everything trying to. You cannot say I knew this. And I had friends who were colleagues who would say, Chris, you know better than this. What are you trying to do? And I realized it was just an unhealthy attachment to fantasy world of this is gonna get better, or I'm praying to the Lord. Lord, look. And it was almost like the famous joke with somebody, I sent you 2 helicopters in a boat, He sent me all of it.
Didn't get rescued, yeah.
Right. But really what happened, I think I might have gotten out in 2004 had I not gotten sick with the Camp Lejeune thing. And that's when God got my attention. I was in the middle of I just started the doctoral program, and she kept saying, well, maybe you should quit and whatever. The professors came to me and they said, it's no use talking to him. He's not going to do it. And in my mind, I knew I had to finish that program because I had just won this big case at work, which by the way, we settled the other day on a 30-year-old case for $22 million. Now I don't know. I ain't seeing any of that money. By the time the lawyers get it, you might get like $5,000, $6,000, $7,000. But still, that's not the point. The point is they were targeting African-American men, and I was going through it. And lo and behold, I found out that my ex was messing with one of the investigators who was trying to get in. He had a record. And so that's what cut me. It's like I'm under attack, and then you're going to sit here and stab me in the back. And then her own, and I don't know if I ever told you this, Chris, I have dreams. I can see things. My whole life I've had dreams. I can read people and stuff like that. It's a gift. And it got me in trouble one time as a kid because I got a beat in 8th grade because I was using it to win football pools. And my mother came to school and gave me a beating in 8th grade because I had a C+ in science. She said, you couldn't see that C+, could you?
Well, since you're on this track, let's kind of talk about that a little bit. So you both get married. Mm-hmm. You're both married for 20 plus years. Uh-huh. So here you go. Like, why didn't your first marriages work out?
Jeez, how much time you got?
Well, this is only our show, y'all.
In 60 seconds.
Yeah. Honestly, what I'll say is to try to temper what it is that you're gonna say. Like, we never want to bash. So
we'll be factual.
Speak your truth, but speak your truth in love. Amen.
Unfortunately for me, I can't say it. Well, Michelle could too. My stuff is documented. We actually had a divorce trial because she beat me to filing. And you remember the show Legally Blonde?
Yeah.
We had a Legally Blonde moment where she at the last minute she said, "Let's not bring lawyers." Well, everybody knew me. said that was probably I had a great lawyer. She was like, but she said, let's not bring the lawyer. And everybody said, she gonna go to the lawyer with you? I had beaten several lawyers. I was a union rep. God let me be over 100-0. I never lost a case, including my own, 100 times, whatever. So we get in there, and I'm asking her witness a question. And I remember from law school, from the I asked this question. I said, didn't I talk to you about 1.5 years ago about this guy? And then we started talking. So I caught her in the middle of a thing. I had impeached her. And then she came back and tried to clean it up. She said, I thought you were talking about another guy. I don't know you were talking about. And the bailiff looked at me. The judge looked at me like Legally Blonde. The bailiff looked at me. He was shocked. The whole court did that gas moment. And then all of a sudden they asked, so Ms. Ibrahim, I'm going to ask you one more time. Why'd you cut him off of the health insurance knowing this man was sick and it was a result of serving this country? The judge was like a very attractive brown-skinned woman. And so, she's showing up there light-skinned with the hair, thinking she all that. The judge wasn't feeling it. And what happened, the reason why that was important is because I had just got out of the hospital the day before after having a severe migraine. That's one of the things about the Marines. I had a severe migraine, and they kept me in the hospital. They thought I was having a stroke or heart attack. It wasn't. It was a migraine. But I still had my stuff on. I told Liana, I said, Liana, I just got out of the hospital, and I said I thought I had health insurance. But when I woke up, they told me I didn't, and then I almost went full Fred Sanford when they showed me the bill.
So I will say that both of us fit into the statistics that say marriages break up for money, infidelity, or what's the third one?
That's 2 of the 3.
But anyway, this side was money, that side was infidelity.
Okay.
To paraphrase everything,
it was money too. She was up there spending money on the dude. I had to bail her out.
For me, I just didn't. I wasn't raised to be lied to.
Yes.
None of us really are, but
yes,
I was used to integrity, and I just couldn't believe that the person I was married to would just be a person with no integrity.
Yep.
Would steal from me, his mother, anybody that was dumb enough to have money anywhere around him, or your social security number anywhere around. But
I didn't hear that. I didn't hear that.
That's real. That actually happened. There was a court case involving.
There's no statute of limitations on federal crimes.
But I just without going through all 28 years, I dealt with like a woman who's battered. Why'd you do that? I'm not going to do it anymore. I'm going to get better. I'm sorry. Back to me bailing him out. And some of these women who are battered physically bail their husbands out of jail. I bailed him out of the possibility of going to jail. I've bailed him out of when he owed somebody money. I pay it just to save face. Different ones at church would come to me. Your husband said that he was going to your husband. And I would just get so, I could punch a wall. I think I did a couple times. Punch a wall. Every time somebody said, your husband said, and I'm like, oh my God, I don't want him. There's a story in the Bible. Donnie McClurkin's first sermon he ever preached was at our church. And it was about the city of Ai. I remember him saying the city was so small it only had 2 letters, Ai. And the man's name was Achan.
Oh.
And Achan, there was sin in the camp. And as it turned out, Achan they
killed everybody. The wife too.
Had stolen or kept back the treasure when they weren't supposed to keep it.
They're supposed to kill everybody.
The treasure. And because of him being found out, they had to kill him, his family, meaning his wife, his children, his animals. They stoned him, I believe, and then burnt the house. And I'm like, can I get a quick divorce before I end up being Mrs. Aiken?
I remember that there's a city in the camp. That was a famous sermon by Monroe Saunders.
But anyway, that's my 60-second or
my 60-second one is just that we had money. We never went bankrupt, but she was paying fast and loose with the bucks, and I was good at inspecting budgets and stuff. And I'm sitting here looking like, So I ended up bailing her out. Now, why is this important? Because me bailing her out led to being in and out of court on paying her back because it had like a $50,000 tax debt after we got divorced, which, believe it or not, and she actually came after me after I had already paid her for the interest after the pandemic, after I got married. She filed again last year.
I went to court with him.
and I had to pay, and I had to pay. I ended up getting refunded some of my money for overpaying. But this is how vindictive somebody. You're not happy. You've been with this same dude who's putting his hands on you. You cheated on me with, and you still ain't gotten married, and you ain't going to church, and you being a regular heathen. and so that's the thing about it, is that's what the part that hurt me, because it was a form of trying to financially abuse me. But God always blessed me with being able to make money, to do entrepreneurship, and I always had a nest egg. Even now, like I was saying, I was telling Michelle, I said, look, I was looking at retirement. I said, I just want to live off the money that we get coming in. The money that we have on say, we just put that in a trust somewhere and let it roll, and then have some stipulations. So because we got 7 of these jokers that they can't be doing this primarily for the grandkids. You'll get a piece, but you ain't gonna be doing. We're gonna do like the Kennedys. Here, you get your nice little piece here to help you out. You ain't doing all. But you have to think about that, because people don't understand. You have to have a plan when you have a blended family.
Yes. So here's my next question.
I served it up for you.
No, not we ain't going there yet, because
Okay.
we ain't even got there yet.
Okay.
So here you are, you both are divorced, y'all are living your lives.
Living la vida loca.
I hope you're not living La Vida Loca.
I was there.
I mean, you was
there when I got out of Egypt.
You was out here dating.
I was.
And Michelle, you had gotten into another relationship, so Chris over here dating and not doing well.
Ended up in a relationship.
And you had gotten into a relationship that was going well, but then kind of fizzled out. So what made you guys open to, number one, being in another committed relationship, and then number two, the idea or thought of being married again?
Oh, the thought. I actually said that I was good. I had my house, I had a career, which I still have both. Grandchildren. Maybe I'll start traveling, and I did start taking those Bible classes that the church offers, and maybe I'll go further in the ministry. This is my time. This is about me, all of that kind of stuff. With Chris, we found ourselves talking on the phone every day. It was cathartic. It was therapeutic to actually speak to somebody else who had been through mental and emotional trauma. I know 2 sick people can't heal themselves in and of themselves, but about support groups.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a one-on-one support group.
Yeah, it was a safe space.
Yeah. So we could talk about anything. Chris is a very, when he talks to any person, and other people who are on the line have probably experienced it, he jumps in the boat with you and helps you paddle. And what do I mean by that? What happened? Now let me explain to you why you went through it that way. And he'll explain.
My mother was a therapist
to me,
a counselor. So
and I go, wow, I never thought of it that way. And I came to depend on those conversations that we would have, fall asleep on the phone, all the stuff you did when you were in high school. Here we are, darn near 60, doing all of that stuff. And
Alyssa called us as 50-year-old teenagers.
Yeah,
I believe it. I
would be over here, right here in the living room with music playing. Chris, I would work till sometimes midnight on a budget, and Chris would be over here. He said, I'll be a DJ while you're doing it. And I have Alexa. She's going to talk if I say her name all the way. But he would just play one song after another while I'm sitting there working on the budget.
Started in radio, still got the DJ skill.
And then sometimes we just break out dancing. And it's like we became best friends. We really became best friends, and nothing was off the table to talk about. And we still are. Do we argue? Oh, yeah. You can't tell me nothing.
No. Like, tell her nothing. You see
we
this?
Argued on the day that he was proposing.
Yeah, we gotta tell the story after this part, because I gotta hear this.
Yeah, we did, and I still proposed. Got on the one knee, did the whole thing.
Okay, so here you are. You're in a relationship. Y'all are vibing. Y'all are doing the thing. Y'all are on the phone. Everything's gravy. Chris, what made you decide or say, you know what, I'm ready to spend the rest of my life with her, I'm going to propose?
You're gonna be shocked. There's actual video evidence of this. People don't know this even in church. Remember that thing? Okay, it was it was Father's Day, but we were looking. We went to we drove down to what's the place we go to?
Father's Day.
It was around Father's Day. We went to the place in Northern Virginia. What's the place we go to? Tyson's Corner. So we go down Tyson's Corner, and I wanted this watch. By the way,
it was Juneteenth.
Was it Juneteenth?
Yeah.
Okay, Father's Day, Juneteenth, they're around the same time.
It was a Saturday. It was the day before Father's Day.
Okay, so we went down there. So she was going to buy me a gift. And I was
His birthday is around that time.
It's after, it's June 30th. So we get down there, and we go on to Michael Kors. It's this watch I have really been wanting. But I was like, this watch is too expensive. I don't know if I want to get this. So where do we end up? Macy's. So they had this ring there, right?
And the ring was like, oh! The light was shining just perfect. I was
and this ring right here. So
the light ain't doing the thing now.
It ain't doing it no justice. I promise you that.
You don't want it to do it on TV because it'll blind everything and it'll mess up the iris. But the bottom line is,
Chris said, "You want that ring?" I was like, "You ain't gonna buy me no ring."
Yeah, I did.
And he said, "I'll buy it for you." I was like, "Huh?" He said, "It's just a friendship ring, so it's a love knot." It's like a knot.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was a lady there that Chris ended up talking to her.
Turns out she was a Silicon Valley executive.
Yeah, he ended up talking to, you know how Chris
started her own company.
Meet everybody, ain't never met a stranger.
So she said, let me video, or did you ask her to video?
Yeah, I asked her to videotape it. I got her in on the I said, you gotta be a video somewhere in here.
I got it in my phone.
He said, you gotta give a friendship ring. I said, I ain't no friendship ring. I wish we had that video. You might didn't get it, but we did. Then I knew, because instead of thinking about me, I was thinking about her. And you need that degree of selflessness when you really love and care about somebody. And I thought that she was a great match because she could balance me out, and I could balance her out, because we take turns being wacky. 1 minute the other person is that
I'm never wacky.
Okay, Lucille Ball. But we take turns and we bounce each other, even though we're both fun loving. We also had this serious side, which most people, if they knew the jobs that we had, they were like, really? Because I think when people meet me the first time, if they don't know, like when I went to New Psalms, they were like, wait a minute, you a doctor? Everybody call you that? You said, you don't like that? I'm still a regular person, but my whole thing is that when everybody's using their titles, I use my title. But other than that, I'm just regular Chris. I just don't like when everybody else using their title and they don't want to give me my props.
Did you answer the question?
What was the question?
Lord have mercy.
No, it was the question was about when did I make up my mind that this was the person that I wanted.
Yes.
At that moment when she was offering to get it, and I thought it was too, even though she could afford it, I just thought it was too much. Then I go and do one up and was thinking about her. By the way, I did get that watch, a version of it. It's upstairs, and it's very nice. She bought it for me for Valentine's Day. It's very nice. It's a silver and gold.
It's very blingy. Chris likes blingy stuff.
I never
met a man before that likes blingy stuff.
Yeah.
But Chris likes bling.
I was in Hollywood. I like, hanging out with them people. You get that thing because you can't really flash earrings. I'm not an earring guy. I'm not going there. I'm not going there.
You're not from New York. Okay. So you've proposed. Y'all are
after the argument.
Oh, we had the ring, by the way.
What was
We had the ring for like 2 or 3 months,
Chris
right?
thought he knew more than me about something.
That is not what the argument was about. You just want to be right.
Do you want to be right or you want to be friends tonight?
Right, exactly. Do you have to be right?
No, I got the best. And then the beautiful part of it is after we had the argument, who comes over the house because we supposed to go to Franny could tell what's up.
Yeah.
Y'all two need.
She's like, what's going on in here?
Y'all two need to stop that. Y'all care, love each other and everything. And there was the first.
Well, we weren't arguing anymore, but the atmosphere
was still there.
Uh-huh.
It was still, you could tell. And as a good friend, I wish she was on here. Franny was a really great friend. That's what I really respected. The thing I loved about Michelle is I loved her friends. I know previously in relationships, some of these people had friends and they didn't always have the best of me. A couple of them was trying to hit on me on the DL. A couple of them were just no good. They weren't happy that she was happy. And so this is the first time I had friends who I thought were supportive on that. And they took a genuine interest in me. were they doing background? Of course they were, but they had to. That was their friend. But after they got to know me and we got to know them, and it was a whole family thing, and I loved it. It made me feel like I was part of a whole new tribe.
Okay.
And it was a good thing, and it was settling for me, and it was emotional support. Most men don't want to. I'm being really serious here. Most men don't want to admit that we need emotional support, and and how important emotional intelligence is, especially in relationships. Don't do that to me. I'm trying to be serious here, and we don't, because we're trying to be all puffed up. But you know what? One thing I learned that went through the whole divorce. It was a lady named Dr. Whitehead I went to. And
both of us did have therapy.
Yeah, I went to therapy.
Yeah, that was gonna be my next question.
I went to
before the divorce.
I did mine during, and guess what? She didn't want to go. I went by myself, and then I was in my doctoral program, and I had been sick, so Dr. Whitehead was coaching me through. She became like a second mother, because it went outside office, and she really cared about it. She said, "You're one of the 3 smartest people I've met in my life." I'm like, "You're pretty darn smart yourself, talking about me." But I loved her. She died. But the last advice she gave me was to get out of a relationship. And after I had taken care of the girls, and so I made sure my other 2 girls, I got them together, and then I got her mother. I made sure they went to school. I got both of them in night school, so they would graduate, and then I followed up and did it. And then even after I left, I went and picked the one up and took her to. She was going to beauty school, and those are my girls. The other 2, I inherited them. They became mine. I think they were like, when I met them, 11 and 13, something like that. And so
that's another important thing. My children are all adults, and Chris has just taken them, and he calls them his daughters, not just in front of people.
I don't believe stepdaughter,
but
like Disney, the evil
for real. And he jumps in the boat with them if they need help paddling or finding their way through whatever. Relationships, careers.
I'll tell you,
school.
Each one of them are my favorite for different things. Like Lizzie's my hangout buddy. I watch the sport thing. We yell at the TV. You might not want to be around us, so we yell at the TV. Lizzie has to get me calmed down. But then Sarah yells at the TV too. But Amber is like, because he got the kids and everything, and then she likes to do stuff and she doesn't get free. So it's like, all right, we're gonna mission escape Amber. Let her go.
Let Amber get out.
Let Amber get out.
We'll
take the kids, or let's take Amber shopping. Like the last time I bought her some Jordans, so she wants. Amber never asked for much, so I'm like, nah, you didn't get this as a kid, but you're gonna get it now. So they get on me because I'm known. There are allegations, strong allegations. It's not on videotape, that I may or may not be a grandchild spoiler.
Yeah, I believe it.
Who are you gonna believe?
I believe that you are, but that's neither here nor there.
Well, there's actual. So what you're gonna hear about later is you're gonna hear about this story about this. I'll let her tell the story because the alleged jacking about episode.
But she might have a question because we're
okay. So how important was and I don't know if you guys did it the first time around, but how important was marriage counseling to you guys this time?
Oh, it was.
So the marriage counselor was actually a friend of mine that I worked with for years and watched him go from being a player to a minister. He's a doctor, doctor of theology. And
Dr. Al.
He actually listened to me cry to him for years. We worked together 30 years and encouraged me to stay married. He encouraged me, no, Michelle, the Bible says, blah, blah, blah. Give that man another chance. Keep praying for him. And when enough was enough, he was like, girl, run for your life. But anyway, he ended up being our marriage counselor. And it was very good. Even though my brother is the pastor, sometimes you need to step out of family for that type of thing. So you're on neutral ground. I don't want Chris to feel like,
I liked him. His big brother was my mentor.
Chris knows
was everybody. My mentor at work.
Yeah.
And I kept saying, man, you remind me of somebody. And then I told him, he said, what?
But anyway, the counseling was excellent. It wasn't a beat you over the head or dig into your business. It was more of reminders of things that we've already been told.
So Michelle, what's Ephesians? What's Ephesians?
It says
that you signed your name to.
Love your wives
Yeah.
and obey each other.
Hilarious.
Well, she signed to Michelle. We're gonna sign this, aren't we? Man, Michelle.
I tried to sign a pencil.
Michelle like she was going to root
Michelle,
canal.
I can't even see that. Can you use my pen?
That was one of the most memorable. Michelle, this is what it said. I know what Ephesians like says. I can't remember. So I was just like, I know. I was laughing about the wives being submissive. You know, good and well.
Submit ye one to another.
Yeah,
You can go to the next one.
Well, I know what it said. I don't have a problem with that. It's just the fact that you actually being submissive is hilarious to me.
Wow,
You, here's a really weird thing about Michelle. Even though she's very strong and strong-willed, she can be submissive when you're showing her that you're up for the job.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you have to. She has a love language. She doesn't know that, but she has a love language that says, "I'm from Missouri." You got to show her. You got to show her. You got to show her. You got to touch her. You got to hold her. You got to tell her. You got to squeeze her, tease her. Don't need her.
All right. With this song Rolodex over here.
Try a little tenderness.
So now you guys are married. You've been married 2 years.
Yeah,
2 years.
2 years
Okay.
and change.
So 2 years and some change.
Not even a whole month yet.
Actually,
Okay.
it is.
Oh yeah, we passed the 13. Okay.
Yep. So what have you learned like from your previous marriage that will help you make this one, I don't want to say better, but
It already is better.
have you be more prepared, I guess, this time around?
Ooh. Okay, so the expectation. I assumed when I was 21 years old that men have integrity. I assumed that you grew up in church, you know, you're gonna be a good person.
Mm-hmm.
I assume because you're a kind-hearted facade.
What does assume mean?
Shut up. So I'm not assuming anymore. I during the time that Chris and I dated, there was a lot of thought, and so boxes kept getting checked.
Oh yeah, she has the box checking thing.
And
she makes you show your income, your retirement, how to get pay stubs.
I wasn't playing.
Hey, bruh.
Retirement.
You got standards. You got standards, buddy. You gotta hold to your standards.
I had to put it on paper.
So Chris, what did you learn? What have we learned here?
Are you doing the Dr. Deborah
Yes.
/ Phi Heidelberg?
Yes.
They're both teachers. What I learned is that obviously I'm older and wiser, and truth be told,
Then who?
Than I was before.
Oh, okay.
And I don't like you. I don't like people that lie. That's a personal affront to me. I'd rather you give it to me straight, no out there, whatever. Just tell the truth. If you don't want to be here, fine. There are other fish in the sea if that's what you want to do. But don't lie to me and fake me out and do that and think you peeing on me and telling me it's water. You know, I just didn't like it, and I determined that next time I would make sure I had somebody that was really about the integrity, not just a form of, they say godliness, a form of godliness, and like the power thereof. Well, I just needed to see that. And what I must say of everybody I ever dated, she was always the best one. She was the first one. So
Michelle was the first one.
No, I'm talking about you were the first one that I really thought if I would have married somebody, it would have been who was a friend, who could handle me. I'm a lot. I mean, sometimes not. I mean, usually I'm chill, but I can be a lot because my mind's always racing. When people who are really intelligent, it's always a lot of stuff there, and so you just want to be cool. You want to be cool. And she has a way of, all right, now come on, what's going on here? What's good? I'll give you an example. This week was a rough week at work because
for both of us.
I ain't want to come in there because we had so much going on. I had to play Steve Harvey in a version of Work Family Feud for this. It was probably like 1,000 people on the live Zoom call, which we did it very well. It worked out, and they called me Dr. Chris Steve Harvey, and so that's the running joke at work. So I wore this like light purple, the suit I had on yesterday. I wore that. with this to look Steve Harvey-esque. That was the plan. So that's why I wore a dark shirt and stuff like that. And it worked really good. It ended up, but getting back to the question, what I really learned is that you have to be happy. You really have to be happy. You know, you don't know how much longer you're going to live. So you don't want to go out. You want to go out happy. You want to go out with somebody who loves you and people that love you and care about you. And even good friends. Like I think about, one of the best things I ever did when I got married is when all you guys came on the honeymoon with us on the cruise. Man.
Oh my God, I got so many questions.
People are still talking about that.
You're taking people on your honeymoon?
Yeah.
We're going to meet people. We might as well already know them.
Might as well bring your own posse. It was the most brilliant. I got other people who have done that and they said they loved it.
Bro, I ended up meeting some random person. We had the whole same outfit on, t-shirt, pants, everything. I was like, only on a cruise where Chris and Michelle got married would I run into somebody who had the exact same outfit on as me.
Wow.
Like, craziness.
Yeah, that was fun.
Crazy town.
That was really fun.
We really had a good time. And I think that I like the little. I've been in big churches and small churches. I was a trustee. I've done a lot of things. I used to produce the church ministry thing. I'm retired from that for now. I do my own stuff because they have somebody who I think is very good, so they don't need me. But when they weren't here, we do need a training for these people jerking the camera around, including my one cousin. All you got to do, it's already framed up for you. You know how I am about that.
I know. All the way around.
Your producer and me got to carry away. I'm answering the question about. I know the question. I'm
hilarious.
But you just want to be with people that you want to feel the love. Like what's the song, Lion King? Can you feel the love tonight? You want to
Lion King.
You want to feel that, and you want to give it back because you ultimately, as a man, the woman is going to reflect you. So if you're giving out all this negative garbage and you're not lifting her up and building her up and telling her she can do it and encouraging her, then what are you doing? You just doing you. Mm-hmm. That's kind of selfish, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. And so just be by yourself.
No, yeah. Why you with somebody if it's all about you, boo? No, dude. You need to. It needs to be about her. God will take care of you. You be all right.
Okay. So you referenced kind of like the conversations that you guys got after being married. Like Chris, you referenced the church, and I think Michelle, you did too. And it seems like in these marriages, when people get divorced and then they get remarried, like Christians tend to fall in one of three categories. They're either no divorce, like divorce is okay, and then like God doesn't like divorce, but certain reasons, like go ahead. Did you guys get a lot of like that kind of conversation, or was it just like you found a lot of people supported you?
Huh?
We never talked about.
No, she's asking. Did I don't think I have been approached by anybody at all that said you're not supposed to get divorced, and if you get divorced, you can't get remarried. I've heard that.
Oh, you mean that old scripture?
And, in the past, growing up in church again. But I
had the Jesus justification.
We know we both know people who are in really bad marriages who are still clinging to that
idea of a marriage. They fronting. Yeah. And I always wonder.
And as I said a couple of Sundays ago in the sermon that I preached, that stuff, when you're going through something to the point where it's impacting you physically,
you gotta get out.
Yeah. It was
that's what happened to both of us.
So stressful that I lost a child, I had an organ taken out. It's just stuff can stress you out to that point where your body just responds, and that's not good for you or anybody else. And I don't think God wants us to be sick.
Not to mention
emotionally sick, physically sick, just that whole thing. And you can't change another person if they don't want to change. Was a big point that I wanted to bring out, because I cried, I screamed, I prayed, I begged, I
did all those things.
Stood in the gap for him when
you did all the stages of grief.
Well, I'm saying to try to remain married.
You went through all the stages. You denied, bargaining, you did everything.
So I named about 5 things. Okay, this didn't work. That didn't. Let's try it again. 28 years of trying it again, insanity.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
By definition. It wasn't working. So even when I forgave him, it wasn't that it changed him at all. Because, like I
It
said,
changed you.
I pray that he's doing better now. But I'm not called to try to change you.
Mhm.
If you don't want to change, you want to go that way, and I want to go this way, and it's a rope around your neck like you're being strangled. If somebody's trying to pull you this way and you try, no, cut the rope.
It's
and
funny.
Live.
Mhm.
It's funny she's saying that because each of the times where I almost thought I was going to marry somebody and I was right down there, down the ring and everything, they did something. And I don't know if you're a Star Wars fan, but Queen Pat Miller, before she died, before Darth Vader, said, "We're going in two different. You're going in a direction I just can't go."
I can't follow.
And I remember Bishop Walter Scott Thomas talking about that. These people will drag you down every time you get there. They can't go with you. And some of y'all ain't gonna want to hear because these people
can't breathe.
They can't go where you're going. They can't go where you're going, and they're gonna weigh you down. They're gonna do this no matter what. And when I saw that, it hurt me, but I knew what I had to do. And so you have to do that, and the consequences, whatever. As far as these other people, I learned a long time ago to tune other people out when it involves my happiness and my health and my mental sanity. And so I don't worry about that. I had to learn that as a young age because I integrated the school, integrated the neighborhood. And I had to think only about me. I was the only one, me and Rolando. That's why we had that bond. And that was it. That's all we had. So you can't worry. Adults have peer pressure too. You cannot let you have to be your own person. And sometimes it's going to be just you and God. And you got to learn to deal with that. And it's okay. It is. It's okay.
So here's my last topic question, and then I have a question that I ask all of my guests at the end of an interview. My last question surrounding this is: there are people that are going to watch this podcast, whether they're watching it today, whether it gets shared, whether they watch it on a rewatch, that may be on the fence themselves about a second relationship or a second marriage. What advice would you give to them to either, encourage or, help to uplift them in their thought process?
You have to be open to love. You just can't. I always knew I was going to get remarried. I always knew I was going to get married again. I said, it's the right person out here. And it's really weird. I know I told Michelle this. I don't think I've ever told you this, Krista. My ex-mother-in-law became my friend. I was like, she made sure I stayed there. She said, I'm an old lady. I won't be around you. You better keep visiting me. I said, well, what about her? She said she'll get over it. He said, let me tell you something. One day she'll get it together. She'll realize what she did, but don't you ever go back to her. That's my daughter. You find somebody that's saved and good for you because you're a good man. There's nothing that you did wrong that you deserve the treatment that you got. And anything that you did do after the fact, you were just hurt and trying to get attention because you were mad and hurt. And I understand that. He said, but you won't come visit me. I didn't tell this. I was banned from the funeral. My whole family came except me. Her family called me and said, why aren't you here? And I had to tell them. And to this day, I get invited to all her family functions and they want me to bring Michelle, but she can't come. So it's really weird. All the people who were mutual friends of ours all became my friends and they stopped dealing with her.
What advice?
I gave the advice. The advice is you have to be authentic. You have to be true to thine own self. As they say in Hamlet, above all things, be true to thine own self. It must follow as the day followeth the night.
So a lot of women who are my age, in my age group, who are single, have said to me after hearing my story that it is encouragement to them. I got married when I was 60. What?
Mm-hmm.
I was 59. I turned 60 that year.
Yeah, but you made it under the gun.
So for me, I just knew. So Chris wanted me to say that on that first date, the 8-hour date, the defense started coming down.
Mm-hmm.
Because before that, I was still kind of thinking the person that I had been engaged to,
this head, man.
maybe we can make it work. Maybe I will. Maybe I can live the way he wants to live. Maybe I can take down
cancel culture. Chris is in the house.
The lofty desires I had of how I wanted to live and just live simply, because he's my friend. I love him.
Mm-hmm.
And but when Chris and I were talking, I was like, it's so refreshing. I don't have to mince words. It's just refreshing to talk to somebody that's like me. You're not always gonna find somebody that's exactly like you. So I don't know what I'm saying, because they say opposites attract. In this case, the magnets, you got the negative and the positive, and you're supposed to put the negative with the positive. In this case, both of us are the pluses. So how did that work? I can't tell you. It just did.
But I think what happens is we switch up. Like usually when one of us needs the other one to pick it up, I don't know, we intuitively do it.
Mm-hmm.
Since the other person is going, like this week, she said, "Come on, smile." I was mean mugging. I didn't want to go to work.
Chris was mean.
I was mean mugging.
And then last night I was mean.
She was, "You're a foul one, Mrs. Grinch."
Oh, Lord Jesus.
She was.
So
Yeah, Tony, you get to be yourself, because if you can be yourself, and that becomes your best friend, and everybody needs a. I always told somebody, I said, when I get remarried, I'm going to marry a friend. Somebody's going to be really my friend, and it's going to be about me, and I'm going to be all about them, because I'm all in with all my friends. My friends are extremely loyal. I have had very few friends ever turn on me.
Yesterday I was walking, and I try to take a walk every day that I'm working from home. And as I walk, I just will look at trees. I live near a body of water, so of course I'm looking at the water, the animals, the ducks, the trees, and it just makes you talk to God.
Mm-hmm.
And just yesterday, I said, God, I thank you for Chris. He's been a little grouchy this week, but I do think he's a good man. And just help him get through. Little did I know I was going to be the one stressed out later on that day. But anyway.
She ended up going through the same thing I was going through.
Get through the stress that he's going through at work right now. In Jesus' name, amen. It don't have to be no long, lengthy prayer. Just talk to him. And I do. I appreciate you, Chris.
I appreciate you too. You're kind of cute too.
You're like my best friend.
Yeah.
And I think we got this. And we got to dance before this podcast is over.
Look, y'all,
I got it all queued.
I might get lucky tonight with keeping this.
Whoa, pineapples. You're taking it too far, sir. You're going too far. Too far.
You do.
Nope. I thought
you could have got lucky last time, but you were mean.
I wasn't mean.
Look, we was right here. Now you didn't took it all the way a bit. Too much.
Tony put the picture of a pineapple up
there. Look, now you knew what you was going to get when you invited us. You knew you couldn't go a whole hour and change without
one pineapple.
At least one pineapple, two pineapples with us.
This
is a record for how long we gone without a pineapple.
Look, it's like being on the call with Pastor Brian. It's like being in the presence of Marla and Ryan. Like y'all just float into that same category. Like
you was doing good. I was trying.
You was, and we was almost there.
Yeah, there was a slight opening, and then that
we was almost there. So
take the door down.
So I'll let y'all dance on my last question, because I ask everyone who comes on the Coffee and Tea podcast this question. Are you a coffee or tea person? And whichever one you are, what is your go-to drink?
I am definitely coffee.
Tea.
Flavored coffee.
Herbal. Man. Oh, you're gonna be next, Marla.
I do like mint tea. I like mint.
I love mint tea.
And I like peach
that's
tea.
That's my joint.
But every day I'm craving my coffee, and I have to have cream, some kind of flavored cream, or the coffee itself has to be flavored. I'm still gonna put the cream in it. Yeah, I have to have coffee.
I only have coffee when I'm at a nice restaurant.
I'm trying not to be addicted, but
I'll do that mushroom coffee. What's that?
Can't help it. The one that Sarita was talking about last.
Yeah, I'm gonna try that. I hear it's supposed to be good for you. So good.
Yeah.
He has
I don't even like mushroom, but
he has to trick me like I trick him to eat mushrooms. He has to trick me with the mushroom.
Yeah, you can miss me with that. I'm not.
I don't like coffee, so. Let y'all know. Hey, look, if it gives you the desired cleansing and everything else looks good. I gotta get this right where I need it. I lost some weight. I gotta get my abs back, and then I'll be cruise ready.
I don't.
Ready.
But the second time around, so far, it's only been 2 years. It has not been the 28. God knows how old we gonna be when it's 28. Jeez.
Oh.
But anyway,
Dr. Deborah.
I don't see it turning around. I know some statistics might show, which I thought they were very odd statistics, showing that second marriages have a worse divorce rate than first marriages.
But it depends on how they're.
But I don't see it turning around because both of us are fighters. Even if we're fighting each other, we bring it back around. So both of us are fighters. Both of us are people who try to make things work out. We are peacemakers sometimes.
We're winners. Sometimes. We're champions. We're gonna win.
Got the mindset of a finisher.
That's right. We are finisher. You hear that? You hear that, Pastor Brown? You hear that, Brother Brown?
Lord have mercy. These two. Y'all out there. This is them all the time. Like, this is not a show. This really is them. Lord have mercy. Lord have mercy.
We don't own the rights to this music.
We don't own the rights to the music. We don't own the rights to the music. Lord Jesus. What am I going to do with y'all? Look, Brother Tony, hilarious. Well, we're going to go ahead and go out on this dance-a-thon here.
We'll be back
second time around. Heidelberg for being a part of our show this evening. Y'all, as you can see,
second time around.
Guys, marriage can be fun. It can be a lot of fun, as you can see from these two. So if you're out there and you're getting married for the first time or the second time or the third time, just remember that you have to be genuine.
Don't worry.
You have to be happy. And at the center of everything, keep God first. We thank you guys for joining us on the Coffee and Tea Podcast. Be on the lookout for our next show. It's going to be a doozy. We see you guys next time.
Time around. Do it one more.